Hi everyone, welcome to this video where I'm going to talk to you about books. Today I have got a book for you which is from a very different genre. I usually do not talk about this genre because I do not read much from this, but I am so glad that I read this book. I am talking about a book from the young adult genre. So I read Radio Silence, written by Oseman, and I was completely blown. I loved it. So usually the books that I read in the young adult genre is set in the fantasy space. But this is a very contemporary book. This is Alice Oseman's second novel. So Radio Silence is about Frances. Frances is a young teenage girl and she is very academically oriented. She's very focused. She wants to get into Cambridge and all her waking hours are spent in studying. Or rather 99% of her waking hours is spent in studying and doing work and getting her letter right to send to Cambridge. So she's extremely focused and she's also extremely boring, according to herself. So Frances actually thinks about herself as a person who has got two faces. There is school Frances. She's a head girl. She's very academic, she's very focused, and she's also very boring. And then there is the real Frances. The real Frances makes fan art. She loves drawing. Her clothes are very eclectic, but she does not show this side of her to her friends or to the outside world. And the real Frances is a huge fan of the sci-fi sci-fi YouTube podcast, audio podcast on YouTube, which is called University. And the real Frances loves University and she makes fan art for it and she sends it to the creator hoping that he might take a look at it. He or she might take a look at it. So that is Frances. Then we have Aled. Aled last. Aled is also 19 years old and he also wants to get into college. But Aled has a lot of issues and he's trying to deal with them, and there is only one thing which gives him some kind of a relief from the terrible life that he leads. So Aled last also has a secret life of his own. Frances and Aled go to different schools and they are not really very friendly with each other until a particular incident. And then they become very good friends. And this friendship is what I loved about this book. This is not a love story. This is a story of a platonic, beautiful friendship. And that is something which I really liked, which I found very refreshing about this. So, real Frances comes out only when she is with Aled. And what they get up to doing, it is so beautiful. The kind of things that they talk about and the kind of creative efforts that both of them do. I don't know, I was just completely blown by the friendship, I would say. I loved it. So, I also could see a lot of universal themes in it. Like school Frances and real Frances. Most of us have two identities. Most of us put on a mask when we are with people whom we feel will not accept us as we are truly, right? And we also have the real us, which is very vulnerable and which we will only exhibit or we will only bring out our real selves only with very few people. I loved that. I loved that about this book, that I could identify with so much of it. And what I felt is I got a peek into the life of teenagers. There is so much happening in their lives and there is so much alienation that they feel, there is so much isolation that they feel even when they are with their peers. And usually we read a lot about bullying that goes on. We are very aware of that and we feel that is the most important thing that is happening in their lives. Yes, that is extremely important and that is a very relevant issue, but then what about what the children face at home? What about what they face from their parents, due to which they are completely undone? Home is supposed to be a safe place. So what happens when that becomes unsafe for them? How do they cope with it? So there is this beautiful world within these young people that I loved. what they talk about, and the kind of issues that they're facing. Loneliness, loss, academic pressure, and the feeling that unless they do well academically, their life is ruined. These kind of things are things that we need to talk about, and we need to tell our children that it's okay. Sometimes children do not exhibit or they do not express their sorrow, but still there is this huge world within them which is crying out for attention, which is crying out to be seen. Before ending, I'd like to talk about this podcast, this audio podcast called Universe City, which is about a student who is stuck in a city in the future. So he's trying to find various means by which he can escape from that city. Okay, and it always starts with this one line which says, "Hello, I hope somebody is listening." Isn't that what we all want? We all want to know that we are being seen. We are seen, and there's somebody out there who can see us and know what we are going through. Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. It is about these two people, Francis and Alan, and how they form this really beautiful friendship. What happens to break up that friendship, and what do they do about it, and what they are going through. This book also has a lot of diversity, lot of inclusion, which is just brought into the life so seamlessly and organically. And I think that is one thing that I loved about this. And there is this podcast, there is fan art, there's so much. There are other characters. There's Rain Sengupta, who is Francis' friend, and then there is Daniel Hoon, who is Alan's friend. So there are these other characters, and the pace is good. The plot proceeds at a fast pace, I would say. So if you guys are interested in this genre, even if you're not interested, I would say please check it out. This is Radio Silence, written by Alice Oseman, and I think you should read it. So till we meet again for the next video, you guys stay safe, take care, and read. Bye-bye.